Well, hi there. Hi, everybody. My name is Rin, and also known as the Knitting Texan on Ravelry, and I am coming to you from a small town in Texas where I am from and where I live with my family. So, this is episode 4, and today is November 6th. I had to move my drink to see it. I honestly thought that it's only been 2 weeks since my last episode, but apparently this is the third week, so sorry about that. Otherwise, I would have recorded last Saturday. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So let me get to my show notes. So I have 3 finished objects today, which is pretty crazy, which also at the same time is kind of disappointing because it's been 3 weeks since my last one. So this is my first finished object, is my dad's Musselburgh hat, which turned out super long, as you can imagine, because last time I think I had finished the gray part, I think. Now I don't remember. Sorry, my face is blowing out like crazy, but there's a window right here. So yeah, I had finished the gray part, I think, and then I started the maroon part, and I was talking about how I had started striping it. Easier to see here where I had striped it, and then it went kind of crazy. But it turned out really great, and my dad loves it, and he wears it all the time now, and which is great because then I'm going to be able to see how this hat wears. It kind of fluffs, and it's been blocked, so that could be where the fluff is from. So yeah, my dad wears it like every night now because it's actually cooled down here in Texas. We are in the 50s, which I don't remember what that is in Celsius. I lived in an area that used Celsius for a while, and so I kind of was exposed to Celsius measurement. Sorry, I'm trying to get this hat back together. But I don't remember a lot of it. That was almost 10 years ago, so, or not almost 10 years ago, it was 7 years ago. But rounding up, it would be 10 years. But yeah. So this is my dad's Musselburgh, and it is knit out of Lolo Did It's Texas A&M Aggies and Lolo Did It's Folsom. And I did not use the whole skeins with this. I only used half of the skein, about half. Even with my dad's hat, I think I used exactly 50 grams. So yeah, which is really cool because it means I have the other half to do whatever with. If my dad wants a pair of socks, shorty socks, because in Texas, full length wool socks are rarely used. But yeah, I'm really happy with this one. So that's FO number 1. I used a US size 2 with all of my Musselburghs, which at first I thought I was using a 3, but apparently I'm using a 2. So I don't know if that was an oopsie or if that's what I've always been using. So second finished object is my Musselburgh, which I knit this again on a US size 2. And I knit this out of Lolo Did It's Hippo for Hanukkah, which is this really pretty speckledy. And then on the inside is Lolo Did It's Blue Suede Shoes, which I really like this color. It's coming off a lot more vibrant on screen than it is for me. It looks more like a very muted denim kind of color. Maybe it's just the light. But anyways, it's a really pretty blue color. And it matches this yarn really well. And so I've been wearing this hat a ton, which is funny because I'm not really a hat person. But ever since I've started knitting these Musselburghs, I've kind of become a hat person. Which is nice because it means I get to wear the hats that I make. And it's always a pain in the butt to put these back together. Eh! Get in there. So anyways, this is finished object number 2. I don't remember if I said the needle size I used. I used the US size 2. Which is great because I have a 9-inch circular in US size 2 because that's what I use to knit DK weight socks. And so I use a 9-inch circular once I start getting to the decreases up here. About when I get to 64 or 72 stitches, like a sock, I start using that for decreases. And also the cast on. I've done it so many times now, which this isn't the cast on. I think this is actually the bind off side. But the cast on for the Musselburgh, I've gotten to the point now where I've basically memorized it. So, which is great because That's like the hardest part of the hat is getting it started. But then again, so that's kind of Socks' problem too. It's like that's why you get, that's at least why I get second Socks syndrome, is I don't like the cast on part. That's the most tedious part because you have to count. Who wants to count? After a long week, who wants to count? Okay, so finished object number 3 is another set of Batman socks. There are going to be a lot of these. And these are men's sized, they're like men's size 11-ish. Maybe a large men's size 11 because they're very stretchy. So they can stretch quite a bit. And so, yeah, these are made out of Yarn Bee Cozy Toes in the crisp cobalt colorway, I believe, if I remember right. And it's on a US size 1, and I use DPNs. I love to knit socks on DPNs, and recently, because I've been knitting in between classes and whatnot, I have also been using 9-inch circulars, but I've been using like DPNs on the cuff and the heel, and then all the way down the gusset decreases, and then once I get to about here, I use 9-inch circulars for this part, and then DPNs for the toe. So anyways, just because I don't like using markers. Like with DPNs, you don't really have to use stitch markers, but with 9-inch circulars, you do. So I prefer DPNs for that part. But in cases where I can only knit for like 3 minutes, or not 3 minutes, but like, sorry, fluff everywhere. I can only knit for like a couple minutes at a time. Having them on a 9-inch circular really helps because you can just pick it up, do a couple stitches, put it back down. So yeah, finished object number 3. Okay, so that's all my finished objects, and let's move on to whips. So in continuation of last podcast I did, I have a bunch of hats. So my first whip is a Musselburgh, and this Musselburgh is actually from my grandmother. So I was knitting a hat for my dad, and my grandmother was talking about how we were talking about how expensive it was for me to knit one of these. And I was like, it seems super expensive. And she was like, oh no, they have really nice wool hats on Amazon for like $50. And I was like, oh, well, that makes me feel a lot better. That I'm spending $60 on a hand knit hat because I get to make it custom to whatever I want. And also it's double thick and really cool. So anyways, I was like, would you like me to make you a hat? And because I like knitting stuff for other people because there's only so much that I can knit for myself. Sorry, it looks like I had a hump here, but that's actually my jacket. My chair. So I prefer knitting stuff for other people, so when people ask me to knit something or I convince them to let me knit something for them, then it's really excited and makes me really exciting. Oh my gosh, it's really exciting for me and I enjoy doing it. And so yeah, this is in Lolo Did It Cienca? Something like that. I forgot to look up the pronunciation of it before I started this, but I think it's Cienca Creek or Sienna Creek. Cienca Creek, I guess. Don't know what reference that is to, but it's a really pretty color, and my sister says that it looks like a world map. Like you put a world map in a blender, basically. That may be the title for this podcast, is World Map in a Blender. And this green color up here is Shamrock, and these are both in her low original base because it's my favorite base. And yeah. So finished this first color, working on the second color, basically making it the same size as my hat instead of my dad's hat, which is huge. So yeah, and I again only used like less than or equal to 50 grams of this color, which is great because it means that I will get to have 50 grams of this color, which is really pretty. It's a really pretty blue-green, which it looks more gray. Man, my colors are really weird today. All right, so that's my first whip. My second whip is, guessed it, a Musselburgh. another Musselburgh is that this one is for my little sister. And I also had convinced her the same day that she also needs a Musselburgh. I got a double whammy that day. And so this is in the Paratrooper colorway. I'm using the same size for all of my Musselburgh hats because they stretch so well. I haven't had any trouble, at least with my gauge, fitting a wide range of head sizes. So, and I'm about to lose stitches. So this is Lolo Did It, Low Original, in the Paratrooper colorway. It was a one of a kind. And it's a really interesting color because it's got like green and orange. And so, you know, it's a really interesting color combination, but I'm actually really liking it. I was actually surprised of how much I like it, and she loves it. So at least she loves it, you know. And so this is what the cake looks like. It's kind of a mess because when the Musselburghs are first started, they're really tiny and they're like little caps. And so I put the Musselburgh on top of the cake, and that's just how it sits on my desk. And it looks like little cakes with hats. So, anyways, so that's where I am on that one. And in normal fashion of my Musselburghs, I like to make my Musselburghs 2-color just to give myself some interest and to finish it. So this will be the second color for my sister's hat, which is really bright and is really blowing out quite a bit. But this is Lolo Did It's Low Original in Troll's Hair, and it's a very neon orange. And I think it goes really well with this. It kind of gives me like kind of reminds me of like hunting gear and whatnot. So it's got like this camo, and then it's got like this bright orange, and so that's what she was going for. And so I think she definitely accomplished that, and I think that's a really great idea. I've been wanting to knit a hat like that, but I hadn't really found the right colorways or who to give it to, because orange makes me look yellow, I think. That's what my mom said. I don't know. I don't know stuff about that. So yeah, that's my Musselburgh, and those are also being knit on US size 2. Like I said, all my Musselburghs except for my next one that I'm going to show you is all knit on size 2. So I don't remember what episode it was. It maybe was like 1 or 2. I had this Musselburgh that I was using self-striping for, and it turned out really cool. I was really impressed with how the stripes worked out and all that kind of stuff. But it has returned, and it's missing its other half, and that's because the self-striping portion, because it's an 80-20 base and this is a 100% superwash merino, they were different yarn weights, just slightly, and so it made it to where this portion was huge. And so this is about my normal size of Musselburgh. Like this is the right size. But this was too big. This was like 1.5 inches to 2 inches too big. So I ripped it out, painful as it was, and it's still pretty kinky. But I ripped it out, and I'm starting it again, and I'm knitting it on US size 1 this time to hopefully bring that in a little bit and make it to where this portion is now the same size as this portion. Also, after I blocked it, I've been really impressed with this Yarn Bee yarn. I've been really impressed with it. It's very drapey, and it also, when it blocks, like all the stitches are really even. It's like really fun to look at because of how even the stitches are. And it's kind of hard for you to see. There it goes. So the stitches turned out really super even, and I really like that. So like I said, this is Yarn Bee Authentic Hand Dyed in the Soot colorway, I believe. And then this is Tia's Terrific Threads on her 80-20 base. I don't know what it's called. And the 12-foot deep colorway. So yeah, turning out really great. Also, when I blocked it, I was kind of sad because some of the red bled into the gray. So it looks like it's got like it's got these pink spots all over it, which is kind of a bummer, but it's okay. But yeah, the yarn is super kinky because I had blocked the hat and tried to get it to be smaller and decided that it wasn't right. So I ripped it out, and the cake looks really funny because it's like all squiggly. So yeah, I'm working on this guy. Hopefully this will work, and I will have a usable hat for somebody in my family. So yeah, that's whip number 3. And I have a 4th whip. And it's not my poncho. Because, unfortunately, sorry, I have fluff everywhere. Because I think that when I blocked that self-striping yarn, it like fuzzed. And so now it's got like fuzz everywhere. So, my poncho, I ended up frogging my poncho, which was really sad. But I had figured out, or decided, one of the two, that the reason why I still liked the poncho was because of the yarn, not because of the actual project. Also, once I got in it to a point where I could kind of try it on, it wasn't the shape I was expecting, and it wasn't really the shape that I was looking for in a poncho. So I decided painfully, and it was really super hard for me, or it wasn't that hard for me, but it was kind of painful because this was a project that I had been working on since July. 4 months? Been working on it for 4 months, and that also told me that it's probably not gonna happen. So yeah, I ripped it out, and I'm gonna use that yarn for something else. Probably not a poncho. I probably won't be making a poncho out of fingering weight yarn. That was also the other thing. I was kind of like, this is probably not the best idea. So I will be making a poncho at some point, probably, but not that shape, and not with fingering weight yarn, and not with that yarn. It's over there, that's why I keep on pointing that way. It's in the cakes again. Sorry. Fluff. And so, yeah, that project has been put away, and I may make a half and half triangles wrap out of it, because I've been seeing that everywhere, and it looks like a huge blanket shawl, which I really like those. I don't know if you remember, I had the campfire cozy shawl from Splash Tricot, I think. I think that was who. It may have been Pearl Soho. I don't remember. I get those two confused. So anyways, my final whip is a big one, and it's in this basket that I got from Hobby Lobby. And the yarn in it, sorry, just dropped that on the table. The yarn that I'm using is Loops and Threads. Loops and Threads, Eco Brights, and assorted colors. So I'm using white, which I don't have much of my white left. I have more donuts over there. That's what I call these, are donuts, which I actually heard from another podcaster, which I thought was brilliant. Like, these are donuts and the others are bullets, and we have Hanks, and so like all these different sizes. So this is the cobalt blue colorway, this is the mint colorway here, and then this is purple. So really, I'm really happy with this color combination, and I really like the yarn. It's really soft, and I think it's 100% acrylic. I don't remember the exact makeup of it, but I'm pretty sure it's 100% man-made fibers. So anyways, what I'm making out of this is a cardigan, and the pattern for this is called Wildflower something. I think it's just called Wildflower. Sorry, that's my needles. And it's a Norwegian pattern, so it's written in Norwegian. It's not in English. And I actually saw this pattern because recently Inga from Knitting Traditions knit it, or semi-recently she knit it out of Ung. I think that's how you say it. And so I decided to knit it out of this because this has similar, it had a similar weight, but it actually turns out that I don't think it does. I think they may have accidentally mismeasured the yardage or something out of this. It is 250 grams for some odd, I think it was 182 yards, but I'm not positive on that. So it was the same gauge, held single, but the thing is held double, I'm not getting the same gauge as the pattern. And I'm using a smaller needle size, and I'm getting like I am using a smaller needle size, but I wouldn't want my gauge to be any looser. So I had to adjust for it. So really the only thing I'm using from this pattern, to sum it up, really the only thing that I'm using from this pattern is the striping sequence. And I used their numbers to get a general idea on how much I should cast on, but I ended up changing that anyways, so it didn't really help me much. But anyways, this may be hard to show, and I'm sorry for any needle planking. So this is the cardigan. There's the bottom of it, and then it goes all the way up here. And so it's the same basic pattern, except I added on this button band kind of deal, this ribbing here, and then I'm knitting, I think that was the only thing I really changed, besides the stitch count. The stitch count is larger. So yeah, the striping sequence is really cool. I really like how it turned out. I really like how the body turned out. I had to rip out this band probably 3 times, maybe 4. Once because I didn't pick up enough stitches, and then another time because I bound off too tight, and so I did a stretchy bind off, and so it doesn't pull this edge up, because it was pulling it up like this, and you want it to kind of stretch and lay flat at the bottom like that. And so yeah, I am now on the sleeves, which I also had to rip out the sleeves because I had accidentally made the color change right here up at the top, which meant that when I was wearing it, you would be able to see where I changed colors, which isn't exactly the prettiest part of the cardigan. So I ripped it out back to the white, and then I moved the beginning of round down here. Which just is as simple as being okay with one side having one row more than the other, because you basically have a half row that you're getting rid of. So like, if this is the tube, right, you're gonna have one side that's gonna have one more row than the other, and you're just gonna have to be okay with that. Or I'm just gonna have to be okay with that in this case. So yeah, it turned out really great. I already woven all the ends on the inside, which there were a lot, like a lot of ends. Because it's acrylic, I didn't really feel comfortable using Shenanigans weaving ends as you go method. I don't know what she calls it. So yeah, it turned out really cool. I really like the colors of it, and I'm actually trying to make it like this jacket, because I wear this jacket a lot as like a robe kind of deal, or as a house coat, I guess. But yeah, I'm really happy with this guy, and I'm excited to get it done. And this shouldn't take too long. I probably knit this body portion in a couple days, and then I decided to block it, just to make it, not block it, but like wash it, so that it would lay nicer, and also, which I'm actually surprised because it's 100% acrylic, how well it responded to blocking, because usually acrylic doesn't really respond to wet blocking, and but it actually did it did a lot to the fabric of it, because this, I don't know if you can see, but that's kind of, the fabric looked a little weird. Like, this looks a lot better than the body did. But yeah, this is my wildflower cardigan. I think they called it the wildflower Jacke, Jakke. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun, being able, or translating it into English so that I could get the stitch count and I could understand what they were trying to tell me, and then also getting the stripe sequence, because the stripe sequence is cool. Also, I think the pattern uses 6 colors and I'm only using 4, so that's another thing. So yeah. That's my 4th whip. Yeah, 4th whip. Alrighty. So that's it for my whips. That's all the whips that I have. Sorry, I'm going back in my phone. So that's all the whips that I've got. And now on to acquisitions, I guess. I do have a couple of acquisitions which were really cool. So I don't how do I introduce this? So I watch a podcast. It's called This Nanny Knits, which is done by Lucy, I believe is her first name, if I remember right. And so she's doing charity socks for West Midlands Ambulance Service. I think that's right. And if you want any details, her podcast will be linked in the description box below. I think she made a video just dedicated to this knit along. She's doing a knit along because for charity socks, you're going to be knitting these socks for the people of the West Midlands Ambulance Service. I can't think of the name of the term used for it right now, which is kind of driving me crazy. But anyways, she said that people could send her yarn or they could send her socks. And so a lot of people sent her yarn apparently. And so she said, if anybody is willing to knit socks, I can send you yarn and you can knit socks for it. And so I said, I'll knit socks for this because, and also I thought of it as a chance to get to try some possibly European yarns or just other yarns that people like for knitting socks. And she definitely delivered with it. I also told her that I would be okay with not knitting as fun colors because I'm not really a pink person. I don't knit socks that are pink really. I knit socks that are like light blue and light green, like that kind of stuff. So she sent me these yarns, which was a lot, and I'm very grateful for her for sending me this yarn. She sent me some I'm gonna totally butcher this, but Regia. The name is like Schackenmeyer Regia 4-ply yarn, which I'm really excited to try out, and it's this really pretty speckledy. It's a white base with some speckles of like purple and orange and pink and red and blue. And so I'm really excited to try these. These will probably be the first ones on my needles. Also, she said that you can't do shorty socks. It has to be full-length socks because in winter and shorty socks don't do much, really. Especially because they have cooler winters than we do. And then she also sent me some West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply in these two colors, which I'm really excited to use because I've heard a lot about this brand and I haven't really attempted to or been able to try this yarn. And so I'm very excited to try it. It's a 75/25 and it says that it has blue paste Leicester wool yarn in it. Sheesh. And so I'm really excited about these colorways actually because I like the blue self-striping. I believe these are self-striping. And then this one's kind of like a self-patterning. It's probably got I think I've seen this knit up before. It's got the red and then the yellow and then the brown stripes with this white and black section. Sorry, my mind just blanked. So yeah, this is really exciting for me to be able to try these different kind of socks, different kinds of sock yarn. Sheesh. And, so yeah, she said that she has to have the socks by December 1st so that she can give it to them for Christmas, basically, or be able to get it to them by Christmas. So yeah, if you would want to join in with that, or if you would like to send me yarn so that I can knit socks or to send it to her, that would be great. Especially if she did say that it had to be wool. It has to be wool yarn. So you can find all of that information on her Ravelry page. She has a group for her podcast, and also on her podcast I believe she had a video just dedicated to this knit along. So yeah, that's it for acquisitions. That's all that I got. Unless you count the yarns that I got for my grandmother's and my sister's hats, that is technically acquisitions. I've gotten it in the last couple weeks. So on to something, just talking about some stuff. I kind of had a crazy week. I unfortunately, or back up a little bit, I was so excited because I won the November colorway for Desert Vista Dye Works. If you don't know what Desert Vista Dye Works is, please go check it out. She's amazing. She makes self-striping yarn. And also every month she has a colorway of the month where you can, it's a Ravelry thread where you can upload pictures of for inspiration for colorways. And if she picks you, you get a free skein of that yarn that's inspired by the picture that you gave. So I did a picture of Oktoberfest, which was something that's in October. It's a German beer festival, basically. And so, anyways, usually the colors for Oktoberfest are blue and white, and then like brown because it's like beer and pretzels. Sorry, I'm like grossly generalizing it and like grossly simplifying it. So so yeah, it's so I won the thing because I put up a picture that's not blue and white and brown. I found a picture that's not blue and white and brown, and I put that up. I thought it was really cool, and she ended up picking it, which is really awesome. And so I was really excited about it. But unfortunately, I got lost in the mail, which was kind of a bummer. And that's kind of what I've been doing this last week, is running around to all these different places trying to figure out where it is. And as I found out, nobody knew where it was, which is such a bummer, and I'm so bummed about. And so anyways, that kind of sucks, and I feel bad for her because as a small business owner, I know like when you send stuff out, you're checking the address like 5 times over just to make sure that you're sending it to the right address, number one, and then you're praying that the post office doesn't screw it up. And it just sucks that it does. They did screw it up this time. Also, I was so excited to find out that I won the Strawberry Pickles cowl that was done by Marina. I think I'm saying your name right. Marina of Strawberry Patches and Laura of the Penrose Knits, I think. I think she does the Knitting Pickle podcast. I think that's what it's called. But if not, I will correct myself in the description box below. They will both be linked in the description box. So anyways, Marina reached out to me on Ravelry saying that I won the knit along, and I was so excited because she is in New Zealand, and the chances of me being able to try out her yarn is very slim. However, she has shown her yarn on her podcast before, and it's really pretty, and I'm really excited to be able to try it. And she's really sweet to be sending stuff all the way from New Zealand. So yeah, hi Marina, if you're watching, thank you so much for hosting that knit along. I had a lot of fun, and it was really great to participate, and I've also really enjoyed watching her podcast. So if you have not checked out her podcast, please do. Although I think she's going on a bit of a break because they're about to have their second child, and so as you can probably understand, I'm sure she's very tired and having to take care of herself first before she's doing her podcast, which is very understandable. And so yeah, I will look forward to getting to see her again and her podcast, but I understand her taking a break. I'm actually very impressed that she's gone on this long and that she dyes yarn. I think she's 35 weeks. That to me is incredible. So I guess that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and for being patient with me for my little hiatus for an extra week, not really realizing that I had gone an extra week. So if you have any questions, leave them in the description box. Leave them in the comment section below. And I will have links in the description box to all my projects, podcasts I talk about, shops I talk about. I will try to link everything, but if I miss something, please let me know. And I will link it in the description box. I will add the link to the description box. So yeah, maybe in the comment section, tell me what you're working on or what the next project you hope to cast on. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in a couple weeks. And that's it. Hopefully in a couple weeks, if I remember right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Alrighty, I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye bye.